This is an update and an added piece. Today is October 22nd, 2025. As you saw, if you go back to 1 minute and 5 seconds of the previous video, this is an added clip. You will see that I was able to see a couple of things that have come to pass and others that haven't come to pass yet, that haven't happened. It's a certain prediction. Now, you may wonder more about me, and I don't want to seem like a lunatic, right? But the fact of the matter is, let me tell you what actually happened. Many years ago, it was in 2006. Before that, I used to pray. I was from Christian beliefs. I was the son of an ordained minister. I as well used to preach. I studied the Bible 7 days a week, and I used to pray. And I will pray for discernment. I will pray to be able to see the future. I wanted to be like King Solomon, that was the wisest man on earth. And believe it or not, I used to pray for that. So being that way, I became very inquisitive. I used to read a lot of books and all that, and study the Bible as well. So I happened to go online. The computer weren't advanced as they are now, as you could imagine back then. And I was able to go and study like the Kabbalah. Started researching the Kabbalah, the chakras, as well as the lost books, right? Like the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the Hagamagi books. I forgot exactly how you pronounce it, but those were the books that I was looking at, right? The Dead Sea Scrolls as well. So doing that, I was able to break a code that I was looking at, and when I broke that code, there was a message there. That led me to somewhere else, in which I was able to cite a word that they gave me. It was almost as if I was being initiated. I was able to cite some words and something codes that I saw, and that had a drastic effect to the point that the computer, weren't advanced as they are now, started like flapping real lot and uploading a lot of information, I felt like, into my head. So at the time, I wasn't sure. I was like, what the hell's going on? I wasn't sure if I was being part of an experiment like MLK or MK Ultra, right? Mind control. I wasn't sure, or it was actually spiritual, to be honest. But it was like overwhelming. I felt sick. I was blind for almost 3 days from an eye. But normally I had a out of body experience. And in the out of body experience, I felt that I went to the past, the present, and the future. This is why I know a lot about the past, the Council of Nicaea, Rome, Egypt. It was very odd, and I can't tell you all the detail. If you heard the other videos, you see that there is some truth into what I'm saying regarding the future. Now, honestly, I would have thought that I went crazy if it was not that I saw my father's death. I knew the date. My family knows this, but this is the only thing I was able to date. So, for example, I saw the hurricane in New York, Sandy, before it happened. But every time somebody would say there's a hurricane coming, I used to leave New York City up north and go up south, to Florida, trying to get away from the storm. And eventually, when I actually moved out here in 2012, that's when it actually came, And I saw so many stuff that actually did happen. I saw nanobite technology, artificial intelligence, and these nanobite technology, microscopic robots, right? They go in the bloodstream, are able to tap into your neuron system, right? Nervous system, and your synapses, and basically are able to send information through artificial intelligence back through satellites, right? And towers, and artificial intelligence computer able to pick up those messages. I want you to think about it like a radio. You know how you turn on the radio, there's waves, band waves, and that's how you're able to listen to the radio, but it's coming through band waves. Same thing like the TV. Well, it's the same way. Our brain has a certain wavelength that these artificial intelligence were able to pick up and send, and people from certain governments will use it to their advantage, to see what you see, hear what you hear, or control the mind. Most people are unaware, so they think they're actually going crazy, or they think they're hearing voices, and it's used against them. So I saw a lot of the stuff I saw. I was happy, which I told you about Iran, Russia. I know we're going to, in the vision, at least what I saw, we're going to get invaded. I know we're going to get attacked. I know, and I was wondering how would it happen. Now I could see where everything going on, what would happen. And I see that when we got invaded, obviously some people are going to fight against Russians, and other people will send them as their savior, as their defendant. I was wondering how would that happen. Now I know why. See, when I had that out of body experience, just so you know, my body dropped and I fell in the hospital, and I chose basically to come back to earth, because there was a time that I should remain silent, and there was a time that I had to review certain things where another 144,000 other people that we were chosen. So I chose to come back to bring this certain message and to be used, not as you see as religion. And that's why it was hard for me, because growing up with a Christian mentality, that a lot of that information that was given to me, it actually shocked me to my core, because it was going against my Christian's belief. So it was, it was very hard to accept at the time. But as time went by, I saw, oh, wow, it really is. And I started studying more of the scriptures. I started seeing things that I didn't see before. So I'm aware of a lot. I'm intuitive, and I'm aware of what's coming. Not everything, obviously. I wish like I said before, I knew I could see the lotto. It wasn't like that, because in order to return, there was things that I was had to be washed off my mind, some blanked out, so I wouldn't know only certain things. And I'm not gonna get to the whole story, but again, I saw certain things that you could see that has happened. Israel, Iran. You know, you gotta understand. I knew about Venezuela. I didn't know what was gonna happen in Venezuela. This is why people talk about narco traffic. I know it's not the case. It has to do with the oil, because of bricks and the system. And I know so much more, and I write about it. If you really want to know, you have to just go to my Facebook page and my YouTube page and read it. I knew about 9/11 many years ago, and people used to call you a Looney Tune, and what else was it? They use a word that they use to try to deflect on what you know, right? Conspiracy theorists, okay? But the fact of the matter is the way I see things is like a puzzle. I want you to understand. It's like pieces of puzzle, and when I start putting this piece of puzzle together, I get to see a whole frame, so I'm able to see stuff. Some stuff I physically saw in the vision. Some stuff I'm intuitive. I feel it. But I went through a lot. Therefore, I know I saw the Civil War. I knew not that it was called ICE, but I knew it was a form of federal government, just like Gestapo in France, in Germany. I'm sorry, and I saw that. Obviously, I knew that the cops are eventually going to go against ICE, because the people are going to put pressure on the local government. The local government is going to go against the federal government. And this is why I was able to write certain things. And it's like a spiritual download, maybe because I'm an Aquarius, maybe because of what I saw, and I knew it was going to come. Again, had I not seen my father's death and my family's witness to this, I would honestly thought I went crazy, and I wouldn't even be bothering telling you this. But I believe it was something more than above spiritual. And just to tell you, in the other dimension that I went, there's no such thing as time. Therefore, you are energy, so you're able to go back and forth with no problem. And I did feel like there was a multiple string theory, different dimension. I also knew about that machine they're using now, which is I believe is affecting us, which the collider, the atom collider, and that's creating a lot of effects. And you're gonna see and hear a lot of things that are weird, because they're tapping into other dimensions. So I believe that as well. I learned that religion is not what you believe. There is such thing as Christ consciousness, as tapping into your highest source. But a lot of it has been manipulated. Religion has been used to control you. That's why they have you believe on God outside when God is within. You are the essence of God. So you are more powerful than you understand, and you got to be able to tap into that Christ consciousness. This is the temple. And people go to other temples, and it was just to manipulate. It had to do with the Rome and a sect of Jews, as you know, the Pharisee. Again, not all Jews are bad, just like not all Americans are bad, just like not all Christians are bad. But there are extremists in every cult and in every religion. And people think they have the best intention, but even Christians remember that me as a Puerto Rican, Arawak Taino, indigenous people, Native American, we were divided into many different Cubans, Dominicans, Jamaicans, and all that, but we were all the same indigenous blood, right? And what they did, they raped, we were raped, our families, they killed our ancestors, I should say, and forced us to believe in Christianity. I mean, they cut our arms off to believe in it. There's so many stuff from pregnant women cut the stomach out. A lot of stuff that people heard about the African American slaves at the time was actually the first one that were abused were my people. Because remember, allegedly Christopher discovered what? America, right? Well, he discovered the Native Americans, which was the first one was the Arawak Taino. And it was just not just Spaniard, he was Italian. Then I found out it was actually George. There's a lot more detail into that. But the point of the fact is that there's a lot going on, and you can see it because like companies like Vanguard, BlackRock, the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a banking cartel. And I write all about this. This is because I had this spiritual download. But now with technology, I'm able to actually fact check certain stuff, and you get to see that it's actually accurate. But I knew this stuff since many years ago. I wrote about it. I did videos where Facebook has taken my pages down. TikTok came way later, but also taking my pages down. And all that, because they don't want you to know the truth. So I don't want to make this longer than what it is. Look at the other video. Stay in the spirit of love is all I can say. Try to vibrate in the higher frequency, because if you vibrate in the higher frequency, a whole bunch of us, we are connected. See it like an internet, right? So we all connected to that internet, that web. And when we are all connected, we all start vibrating high, and we could vibrate and bring heaven upon earth. Versus if you vibrate low because of fear, anger, hate, then you're going to basically drop us down to a lower vibration. Thus, you're going to bring earth to hell, to the pits of hell. And that's when you see wars, and, which I did see, and civil war and all that. And hopefully we won't get to that point, because we do have free will, right? We could make changes. We could start tapping into other dimensions that are bringing in more positive feedback to you, that will vibrate with your own frequency. And I believe that, guys. I chose to come back. That's how I felt. Some people may laugh, say, oh, reincarnation, and I'm not going to be speaking about that. But the point is that we are energy, and energy never dissipates, right? It never dies, okay? It just comes back in different forms. That's why you could explain certain other things that I'm not going to get into, because I'm not going to make this religious, okay? But yes, there is a Christ consciousness, and you have to tap into that Christ consciousness, which is your higher source, your higher self, and so we are all connected as one. So this is why, as a humanitarian, I care for everyone, especially what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Israel. Obviously, people are just naive. They're just following orders, but there is a certain group of people, right, that are psychopaths. They have no feelings. That's why they are in power, and they are controlling. They are elite people controlling pretty much the Western world. This is why I know what countries we're going to be attacked. Venezuela, I think we're going to go after Iran, all this stuff, because not only did I saw it, but it's because they are not part of the system that we are part of, right? We created a system with the petrodollar, Federal Reserve Bank, IMF, World Bank, through the same elite of people. And most of the world's currency is pegged to the dollar that's dying because of BRICS. It's because of us, because of the negative sanctions we put on the world and what we've done. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand. I've written about it. You understand. You see it as illegal immigrants, but you understand that we created chaos in their countries that has basically caused a blowback, right, to ours, right? And as I've written down, this 55% of America, what you call America, which is really USA, because America is a continent, but 55% of this country was stolen from the Native Americans, which a lot of them people you don't understand were Mexican, and here we are fighting, against them. So that's all I have for today. I want to add it with the other video, and see, the things that are going to be coming. But I believe that we can make a change. It's up to you, because either we'll go one route, which is World War III, Civil War, right? Having a digital chip on you, where, as the Bible says, for those that believe that part, without that mark you cannot buy or sell. Or we go to high vibration, and maybe even BRICS takes over, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America. There are Latin countries that join them, and I believe that's a better route than what we have now, because the people that are ruling right now are evil, and if they continue, you're going to become homeless. You're going to be starving. You're going to be scavenging for food in a Great Depression here that you've never seen before. And what's going to happen, you're going to be eating, but like I said, eating the crumbs that fall off your master's table. You're an indentured servant. The USA, as you know, is a corporation, is a lot more. But you and I are Americans. And we have to fight for what is America, not the government, the banking cartel that don't have your best interests at heart. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.